Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Hope everybody is doing well, mashallah. Nice to be with you all on this Friday, inshallah. I think we'll give it a couple of minutes and then we'll get started that way. Just a couple more, few more people are logged on. Okay, Bismillah. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen wa Habibina wa Mawlana Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. It's another Friday during the pandemic. Not many of us are still alive. Alhamdulillah. That's one of the great blessings of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala upon us, that people are rewarded for consistent good actions that they used to do, even when they don't have the ability to do them, as long as they had the intention to do them. And so we ask Allah to make our Fridays full of barakat, full of blessings, despite the fact that we're not able to sit and worship in our space on. Today, inshallah, I want to talk about a subject that I think is very relevant to our lives now during the pandemic, and the fact that we don't have the social interaction. And many people, I've been talking to some people recently, and they say, yeah, we only see these people. We go door, we get what we need, and maybe we family are one or two, households. And so, living in this reality, what happens is that we spend a lot of time online. We spend a lot of time on the internet. Age groups use different things. Um, people are spending a lot of time entertaining themselves with their phones and with their all of the different services that are available. So the bottom line is, as a society, we are spending much more time online in front of screens than we ever did in the past. Before the pandemic, we, people were spending a lot of time on screens, more so than they ever were in the past. And now I would argue that that's probably so much more because of the fact that other social outlets are no longer there. Avoiding a harmful e-diet. Avoiding a harmful e-diet. The concept of the fact that what we ingest, that diet of information, of entertainment, of online activity, is the necessity of life, and we require to have a certain intake, certain vitamins, minerals, certain food groups, and so forth to keep us alive. We can live without food, but to keep overeating. If something is very nutritional, very nutritious, has a lot of nutritional value, but to keep overeating, even what is good, even what is wholesome, can lead to what? Somebody becoming overweight, somebody becoming obese, and then let alone eating unhealthy foods, get high cholesterol, high blood pressure, other nasty illnesses and diseases. Um, the internet can be compared to our relationship with food. The internet is a great tool that provides us with innumerable benefits. There's so much that we gain. There's so much that we access. But if we overindulge, even what is good, it's not done in moderation, or we keep ingesting unwholesome products and material, it can ruin, just like food can ruin somebody. An overindulgence food can, an overindulgence in food can ruin someone's physical health, but not only their physical health, their spiritual health and their mental health even. It can have an impact on that. The same thing with ingesting too much, right? Ingesting too much or ingesting unhealthy material on the internet can ruin the same way our spiritual health, number one, can also have an effect on our physical health because you're always sitting down, not doing anything. And even our mental health, it can skew our perceptions of reality. So I want to talk a subject today in brief, and inshallah, as Muslims, we are comprehensive creatures that have integrated reality of mind, body, and soul, and what we ingest in one part of our life affects every other part. And as Muslims, we're concerned about our spiritual growth, but we know that our spiritual growth is attached to so many things. So I'm not talking today about some sort of strict, religious topic, so to speak. But of course, we are talking anything that we do and anything that we live is concerns our Islam. It concerns the way in which we carry ourselves and our relationship with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and of course our relationship even with the rest of the creation is a part of who we are and what we are ultimately held accountable for. So we have this massive amount of information and content in cyberspace. It's difficult with everything that is there for somebody not to feel overwhelmed, to appropriately maneuver, to appropriately navigate all of the information that is thrown at us. Right? So some people ingest so much that they literally can become overwhelmed, where it overwhelms them in their life, which can lead to addiction, it can lead to depression, it can lead to anxiety, right? Depending upon how that plays out in different people. It's a challenge to be selective in what we read, who to talk to, right? Who to communicate with on the internet. You have the whole world at your disposal. You have your family and friends, but you also have complete strangers that you can engage with. And what activities to engage in? It's a struggle to turn off our electronic gadgets, right? They constantly are beeping and flashing, and new emails are constantly popping up, the updates and instant messages, right? Depending upon how many things you are connected to, some person or some group always wants to show and tell us something. There's always something. That's what that's what we do. The more things that we attach to, the more input that we're allowing to come in. And there's always somebody who wants to get something across to us, wanting it, demanding our immediate attention, right? And if we comply all of the time, if we simply press the button, we say yes, what happens? So being conscious of this matter is of utmost importance uh, to our spirit, to our soul, to our you know our connectedness with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because our spirit is the main conduit by which we are going to be connected with Allah. And if that conduit is occupied, right, with all of this stuff, um, and it will easily consume us, consume our thoughts, and consume our time if we are not conscious and if we let it. Unhealthy real life interactions that are nourishing, right? That are healthy, excelling at work or in school. You're too distracted. This is a big problem for kids today. Our kids today are learning on, these virtual, on in this virtual space, sitting at home, sitting in front of a computer, in a classroom, but the other tabs are also open. And as soon as they get a minute, or as soon as they can escape, or as soon as the lecture gets too boring, they open the other tab. They take away from reading beneficial books and other material. These unhealthy online habits take us away from people. What happens is, because now you have so much access to so many people, you have uh, little or no depth in those relationships, and not a deep knowledge of matters in life, because there's on the top of the computer screen you have all of these tabs, right? Send a quick message, you send a happy face, you send an emoji, but there's not a real depth, there's not a real developed discussion, right? There's not that personal touch. People will look through pictures and videos and blogs, and they make these things, they make us aimless consumers. They distract us from getting anything of great substance from those interactions. And then the worst case is people who engage in online sin, right? Online sin. What are we talking about? We're talking about watching material that's inappropriate, listening to, subhanAllah, nowadays, even in my news feed, when I open it on my phone, you go into certain sites, certain news agencies, and they have no problem conveying their message or showing videos that have, horrible content. So we have to be more careful than more careful than ever. And let alone, the fact that pornography is so easily accessible. So online sins can develop into addictions that completely violate our moral code as Muslims, eat away at our soul. And some of these things, those are done between us and the computer screen, but then that can translate into even negative habits beyond, and break relationships with our loved ones, with our spouses, and because we're engaged in things in an inappropriate way. So how do we deal with all of that? And today is just really just a quick kind of reminder for myself. This is a challenge for everybody who lives in the world today that has the internet, has access to the internet. And some things that we need to consider and we need to transform about our lifestyle. Some minimal, matters. First of all, we need to have time when we are unplugged. There needs to be times that are violable times where we don't engage. We log off, disconnect, give your eyes and your ears a break, right? Completely unplugged. Go to the park, watch the sunset, but don't pull out your phone when you're looking at the sunset. It doesn't make any defeating the purpose, right? Enjoy the solitude. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for the beauty that you see around you without having to reach for that extra crutch of the phone. Bond with your loved ones, right? Connect with your children, with your family. Talk about your life, your hopes and dreams and fears and needs and all. Connect with people, right? Um, Obviously, things are not the same in the pandemic, but that doesn't mean there's not opportunities for us to still engage. We're 6 months into the pandemic, and we've learned ways by which to connect with people, whether that be through FaceTime or even in person when you have a safe setup. Um, Connect with people. Connect with people. Have real connections. Sending a text to a friend who you haven't talked to in 6 months is not a real connection. It's just quickly hitting a keyboard and sending a happy face. And that's okay once in a while when you want to, just quickly send something off and hey, I'm thinking of you. That's beautiful, mashallah, if you don't have the time to put a phone call in. But that in and of itself does not connotate a relationship, right? Um, uh, we have the Quran, we have Allah's book. Read it, reflect upon its meaning. What is our purpose here in this life? Make these things habits, right? Your connections with people, your connections with the Quran, but do it with full presence, right? Our Prophet ﷺ, he said that, in the famous hadith, that these different things have a right over us. Our body has a right over us. Our Lord has a right over us. Our spouse has a right over us. He says, فَأَعْطِ كُلِّ ذِي حَقٍّ حَقَّهُ, and give everybody their due right. Even when you entertain yourself, and you are reading on the internet or you're watching a video, give it its right. Don't have 5 tabs open at one time and you're quickly just scrolling from one to the next. And that's, if you're watching a good movie, don't watch it on your 2-inch telephone screen. Watch it on the TV. Enjoy it. Put everything else away. Give it its due right. Right? Because what happens if you constantly engage in that, on that small screen, and it's just a constant flipping from this to that and the other, and you're not fully engrossed in any one thing. You're all over the place. And so even in that, we say those words of the Prophet, give it its due right. If you're spending a half an hour responding to emails, focus on that. Do that. Sometimes we need to multitask, but we're more productive if we focus on one thing, and it's more meaningful. Plug. Second thing is minimize what you do when you are online. Like we said, think small, be selective, choose quality over quantity. Don't be engaged on so many different things at one time. You don't need to see every single post and every single video that's sent to you on WhatsApp. If you filter out your stuff that you don't need, right? There's no politely back out of certain groups that you are in, because if you really think about it, you've had that group for a whole year, and people just send all kind of random. What good is random material and random information that you're flooded with? We're not benefiting ourselves. So remove yourself from things that minimize, right? Give yourself um, some breathing room. You don't have to be consumed always with something. You don't have to be on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, uh, and TikTok and everything else, right? So engage in that which is beneficial. Um, um, you know, so one is unplugged, second is minimize, third is refine what you do. Think of your activities online. Evaluate the way in which you navigate the internet and the way in which you speak on the internet. Um, is it useful? Is it appropriate? Is it modest? Is it in our line? Is it in line with your values as a Muslim? Or is it impulsive and you just do whatever you know at any given time? When we speak with people, when we engage on different platforms, it should be done as a Muslim. We speak wisely, we speak cautiously, we speak courteously. We don't just speak for the purpose of speaking. If we're engaged with people of the opposite gender that we're not related to, our interactions should be appropriate. They should be kind, but with full modesty, right? Never should be very conscious of how we engage with others in that space. Um, it is better to use words than to use emojis, right? There's so much that gets lost nowadays. People, you know, I hear of so many conversations of where people get frustrated with other people because they say, look, like this person is being disrespectful, they're this, and then you look at the message, it's like 2 words long, and it can be interpreted 1,000 ways. If they send a happy face, well, I'm not sure, are they being passive aggressive, if they're just being what do you call it, you know, if they're just being, I don't know. So it has to be spelled out, right? We've gotten so used to just quickly sending off things. We have to be more comprehensive in our what do you call it, in our communications. Um, you know, there's a time to make things short, but there's also a time to make things long and, you know, express yourself fully. Before you engage in sensitive or controversial matters, think once, twice, three, four times before you engage in those sort of forums, because it's very easy for things to get misinterpreted and lost in those spaces, and for conflict to happen over nothing at all. Um, and you know, it's important that we really pay attention, that we don't just simply go with the flow as it comes with us. Some people, anytime there's a new app, they instantly download it. Anytime there's a new social media, there's a new social medium, they just jump on it without even thinking. We have to be calculated about how we move through this aspect of our life, just as we are in other. We're conscious of what we say to people at work. We don't just say anything to anybody. We don't you know, we don't go to the store and buy everything single thing that we see on the shelves. We're conscious consumers. We have to be conscious consumers too when it comes to our time, which is our most valuable asset when we navigate in this e-world. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala you know, allow us to be, as our Prophet ﷺ said, لا يكن أحدكم إمعة يقول أنا مع الناس. You know, none of you should be a person who says, you know, I'm with the people. If people do good, I'm with them. If people do bad, I'm with them. You go with the flow wherever the latest trend is. You just jump on the bandwagon and go with it. Prophet ﷺ says, "Walakin wabtinu anfusakum." Make yourself firm, strong. Plant your feet in the ground. Know what you're doing before you do it, and then you pivot and go in the right direction. So may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help us to navigate life with wisdom. May Allah help us to navigate the internet with wisdom. May Allah help us to you know, always engage in that which is beneficial. May Allah allow us to always benefit from what we learn and to learn and to teach us that which benefits us. May Allah help us increase us in knowledge, real knowledge, not random facts, not random facts. Um, anybody today can learn random facts by going to Google and instantly finding out any random fact. It's not random facts that are beneficial to us. It is it is knowledge that is impactful in constructing our life, primarily in constructing our life, our spiritual connection with Allah, and then also worldly matters. It's good to have knowledge in different sorts of disciplines, but it should be deep knowledge. It should be that which is going to allow us to benefit from what life has to offer us. أقول قولي هذا أستغفر الله لي ولكم. جزاكم الله خيرا. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala bless you all. Wassalamu alaikum.